AI vision for Tunisia? Mr. Bilal.
Thank you. Distinguished moderator, esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to represent the Ministry of Communication Technologies of Tunisia today. Artificial intelligence is a critical driver for Tunisia's stable development, innovation, and governance. We are committed to using data ethically to empower citizens and reinforce Africa's digital sovereignty. Tunisia's AI strategy is built on three complementary pillars: governance, skills and research, and public service transformation. But governance focuses on creating an enabling legal and regulatory environment that supports secure, transparent, and ethical AI adoption, ensuring alignment with international standards and local needs.
By any chance, do we have another microphone? No, it's only one. It's not working. No, it's okay. Is it working? Dans les aléas du direct, I'm going to ask another question, so you can be prepared during that.
Thank you.
That's great. So we're talking about artificial intelligence. How are we implementing this AI in our national strategies in Tunisia?
Tunisia incorporates AI as a strategic element within its national digital and innovation frameworks. This to accelerate modernization and socio-economic development. This integration is achieved through strong collaboration across government bodies, academic institutions, and the private sector to develop necessary skills and build sustainable AI ecosystem. AI technologies are leveraged to improve the effectiveness and reach of public services, optimize operational processes, and stimulate economic diversification. The approach ensures AI initiatives complement national priorities and contribute to inclusive growth and digital transformation objectives.
So here you've talked about our national programs and how are we integrating it. Can you please share with us lessons that we had from this experience?
Tunisia's AI strategy emphasizes inclusive stakeholder engagement and strong governance. Clear regulations safeguard data privacy and citizens' rights, promoting transparency and accountability. This builds public trust and ensures AI use is responsible and fair.
Okay. So I'll come back to you in the round 3 where we're going to talk the infrastructure to ask about what concrete projects that we have, and we will have an idea as well about this. So my question here, thank you so much, Mr. Bilal Chabou. My question here for dear Ambassador Philip. So here, can you tell us, we know that Kenya has positioned itself as a leader in AI-driven public innovation. How does Kenya AI policy framework link to the African Union's continental AI strategy?
Good afternoon. Aslem. Levese? Why are you not responding? Yeah, so I think the couple of similarities between the African Union AI strategy and the Kenya AI strategy. First of all, I think if you look at how we are thinking through artificial intelligence is that Africa has always been in the margins of global AI governance conversations. And so the first thing we've centered on is we have to have a shared vision that AI in Africa must be African-owned from the first instance. At the second instance is a lot of AI capabilities being developed externally are not really to solve problems. They're very much around self-driving cars, they're very much efficiencies. And so the second part of how we align ourselves with the African Union is AI must be people-centered. It must be centered on the African person. The third one is that our AI is not for vanity. We're not trying to send, robots into the moon. We want to use artificial intelligence to fix our development priorities. So that's the third element, is how do we get artificial intelligence to solve food, to ensure that we have specific for learners in the education system? How do we solve the climate crisis? How do we solve potential issues around conflict? And so I think that becomes very important, is AI must be development oriented. Finally, I think it's about inclusivity, that AI does not increase whether it's the digital divide or the opportunity divide. Because right now, if you're not leveraging on artificial intelligence, we know you're not necessarily angling for any opportunity. So I think that has become very important. And finally, it's about sovereignty. And I think you mentioned that no country outsource its intelligence. And I think for us, that has become a very big pillar, that each country must own its intelligence. And to own your intelligence, you need to be able to leverage AI.
Yeah, and you had some challenges, as you said, in translating this AI policy into tangible, concrete solutions, isn't it?
No, I think, and that's a reality, right? So on the foundations of what you build around digital transformation. So the first thing, of course, is about internet and connectivity. So if people still do not have connectivity, then how do you talk about artificial intelligence?
Yeah.
If you do not have your own compute capacity, which is something that we're seeing a challenge in Africa, then how do you then ensure that people can access compute that is not affordable? So that still remains to be a challenge. If you look at the issue of data, a lot of African languages are still not digitized. And so that's not unique also to Kenya, that a lot of our languages are not. So I think we still have challenges around those basic foundations so that AI is accessible and inclusive for everybody. Let's not forget about women and persons with disability, because those two parts have always been left behind the previous digital revolution. So the idea then is, how do you equalize as much as you want to accelerate? So I think that's the dual challenge we have.
Yeah. Now another question. We were talking before this panel, and you told me maybe there's a continent progress, a continent force that we can have. Can you dive in this matter a little bit more about the continent? How can we, as a continent, make a better progress?
I think one, of course, is to understand, as I said, that and I mentioned it as we were preparing for this panel, that I have been in every AI global governance negotiation, every single one at the United Nations, whether it's a fast AI resolution, whether it's a global digital compact that we agreed in last year, UN General Assembly. This year is putting the two institutions, whether it's the independent scientific panel, but also the global dialogue mechanism, is that Africans were always left behind. And Kenya was negotiating on behalf of 77, which is 134 developing nations. So in this particular instance, it's not only Africa, it's also Latin America. And so what we've learned over time is that, unlike previous technologies, is no country in the global south can lead on AI alone. That, believe me, and this is from experience, we can only do it together. And when I say together, it means compute. Right now, Africa has the least GPUs per capita in every continent. Some companies have more GPUs than the entire African continent. Only 1% of global data centers are in Africa, 1%. And 50% of those data centers are in. So it means percent of 1%. And so that is the reality that we have to contend with. 600 million Africans still don't have electricity. Yet AI and data centers consume a lot of. Not all of us have the talent to do it. So unless we combine on compute, on data, on talent, on the use case.
Now that's great. We have someone who strongly believes in the of Africa, and this is why we have this panel today. This is why we're discussing this, and this is why we have countries in this opening panel. Thank you so much. This was insightful. Now, my question for Alexia. Alexia works in the entrepreneurship hub of Cote d'Ivoire. She will tell us what are the ecosystem of entrepreneurship there. What are you doing, and what progress are you seeing there? Yeah.
Cote d'Ivoire see entrepreneurship as an engine of digital transformation and AI strategy. So national strategy is to place the startup at the center of innovation, where they can create with AI solution.
Yeah, and how is AI and entrepreneurship is translated in your national AI strategy?
With
Your governance?
with the Everyone Tech,
Yeah.
which is the first incubator, national big incubator. We organized hackathon.
What are the key sectors that you focus on?
Agriculture,
Yeah.
public management,
Okay.
and education.
Okay.
Agriculture, it employs 40% of the population, with the cocoa, which Cote d'Ivoire is the producer. Education, because with COVID, we have to invent some digital tools to be creative. So AI, and in public management, because we have to be the owner of data. Like the ambassador said, Africans have to be owner of the data, so
And these sectors are aligned with your AI strategy, national AI strategy.
yes, we have no use cases in these three sectors.
Now, as we saw in other, like the other panels, the other keynotes as well, we were talking about youth and bold entrepreneurs who are emerging now. You work with them. Are you doing collaboration between universities and the startups in order to have this progress, concrete progress, and in order to help them to have a better ecosystem and better economy?
Can you repeat?
Okay, so my question was, are you doing collaboration with university and startups?
Yes, we have AI labs in one of the university, Félix Houphouët University. We are building now AI hub with the PNUD, the UN, and we work a lot with foreign university program like JICA, COICA. We work a lot with Tunisia, Nigeria.
That's great. And these are African countries. Again. So thank you so much. This was insightful about the AI strategies and national strategies. We have saw with Kenya that Mr. Philip, ambassador, believes that in the power of AI and the power of the countries working together in order to have concrete progress. He talked about all these progress that can emerge if we are collectively working on that with a little bit of numbers, and we believe in numbers. And Mr. Bilal Chateau talked about what Tunisia is working hard on implementing this AI, on having these progress in real life, in real programs, and with how it's going to be aligned with the national strategy. And with Alexia, we saw how the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Kenya is working, how are they collaborating as well with other African countries. And now we will talk about infrastructure, because we know without infrastructure we cannot build something bold, cannot go further. So here my question for all of you as well, and I have several questions. How is your data your infrastructure in your country? How are you investing? My question for Mr. Philip. We need to have a microphone, please. So how are you investing in your infrastructure?
well, and this is, I think, I'd like to connect with, I think it was Hisham, the previous speakers in the first panel. That first of all, as I mentioned, that artificial intelligence infrastructure is a stack. You stack on top of the other. The first infrastructure, and I think Tunisia, having lived here a couple of years ago, has been very good around the initial digital infrastructure and connectivity. I think you cannot have supposedly an inclusive AI ecosystem without connectivity that is good quality connectivity, because you may not have the compute, but you need to process the data, and you need and you need infrastructure. So I think for Kenya, we've been over the last 15 years investing in undersea cables. We have about 9. By March of next year, we'll have about 9 undersea cables. One will be sovereign AI cable coming from Italy. We're calling it, it's coming from. And so I think that's important. The second part, of course, is we've been investing in data centers. So we have about 3 big ones coming in collaboration with private sector, with Microsoft G42, with Oracle, and with Cassava Technologies. So those are the 3 big ones we've seriously been investing on, including a cluster of 3,000 H200 GPUs. So again, it's both private and public collaboration. The third infrastructure, of course, is understanding that infrastructure needs also to be accessible to universities and startups, because compute time is very expensive. So part of the investment is to ensure that a portion of that can be accessed at an affordable rate by university and researchers. Of infrastructure is the language models. And so also we've been tinkering around small language models, because you can't build large language models in the continent when you have some languages that are not that massive in that particular case. And so we are increasingly talking about digital public infrastructure, which is more the rails, as we call it, but also part of our infrastructure is the digital public intelligence, which is the use cases, because you have to build both together.
So can we talk a little bit more about the talent gap? How are you addressing the talent gap?
The talent gap? We have no talent gap in Kenya. Unfortunately, we really don't have a talent gap.
I heard you said we don't have, it's us who are helping you in doing that. So please tell us about this too. We need to know it.
So I think for us, it's more or less around, and this is where I talk to my government colleagues a bit, because our median age is 19.7. So we are a very young population. And a lot of them, we call them digital natives. Our education, our literacy rate is above 90. So we do not necessarily have a talent gap. We have an opportunity gap. So bridging the talent to the opportunity. And this is where, to your point, investing in the infrastructure and making it accessible is important, because you'll have talent, but they have nowhere to practice the talent.
Exactly.
And I think for me, that is the gap that we have. So our obsession right now is reducing cost of compute and enabling access to it.
Yeah, and to include the rural regions as well.
Yes, and so if you look at what we've done in terms of, and this is an advice, this is why I love this meeting has been held in Susa, not in Tunis. Because that's the problem. Because many people think, that Abidjan, Nairobi, or Tunis is the center of the country, yet the entire country must be included. So for us, what we've done is we are hiring now 47 AI coordinators, because we have 47 wilayas, I don't know how you call it, governorates or whatever that is. So 47. So we've done that deliberately. The second thing is that we're establishing 1,400 hubs across the country. And then we are connecting the hubs. So the AI coordinators connecting the hubs, then creating the sort of AI cluster access for these particular folks. So that in a way bridges the rural-urban divide.
So this is how you can ensure equitable access to all of them. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the same question for Mr. Bilal. How are we working on the infrastructure in Tunisia?
Tunisia has made deliverable and strategic progress in its cloud and data governance frameworks to create a robust foundation for the successful AI deployment. This progress is aligned with our national strategic vision and reflects our commitment to digital sovereignty, innovation, and data security. Our national strategy 2021-2025 sets clear priorities that center around digital infrastructure, data governance, and regulatory modernization. Uh, these frameworks ensures that data lifecycle from collection, storage, to processing to sharing is managed securely and transparently. Tunisia has already a very high 4G coverage, about 97% of population, and has launched 5G services in 2025, providing the advanced connectivity necessary for AI-driven applications in critical sectors such as industry, healthcare, and mobility. And concurrently, the government is reinforcing its optical fiber optics infrastructure and strengthening the international submarine cables link to Europe and the Mediterranean to ensure high speed and reliable connectivity.
So the same question I just asked to Mr. Philip, how are we addressing the talent gap in Tunisia?
We are building an inclusive and sustainable AI ecosystem with government initiatives and the upcoming Startup Act 2.0. The AI strategy supports innovation, international collaboration, and applies technology in education, healthcare, employment. This to drive the socio-economic growth. It improves personalized learning, generates new job opportunities, and supports the retention of local talent in Tunisia.
So you have, as you said, you're working, you're having significant progress in this. And my question is, can you share the support? Can you share how the support this supports the AI implementation? What you said.
Of course,
So easy according to what
yeah.
you said.
Of course, by establishing a good infrastructure, and we need to secure this infrastructure. We need good frameworks for data privacy. That's enhance the deployment of AI in Tunisia.
Yeah. So I'll come back to you about your vision because we're talking about something good. We're talking about a progress. So I'll come back to you to talk about your vision. What are the next steps in the round 3? This is the last part. Thank you. So Alexia, how is the infrastructure in Côte d'Ivoire?
We are now building our third data center, which provides security and hosting public data. We are building also the government cloud, which is specifically for the government to allow ministry and local authority to share data securely. And we have a national, we are building now, we already start building the national broad plan, which means fiber optic to connect to Kenya. Because I don't know, that's an anecdote. I try to explain well in English. Last year, we had a major break with connectivity in Ivory Coast and in Senegal, because some boat sectioned the cable, so we stay like 8 hours without connectivity. It had a major impact on TPE, on bank, on plane, on
That's
everything.
a huge problem.
Yeah, that's why we are trying to be to own or online cable line.
Working on it.
Yes.
So how do you make sure that you're addressing even the talent gap? Are you including them, or is it just in the center?
We are planning, this is a discussion in the government, to include coding and coding digital in the national curricula. We, even if we're doing medicine or law, we are trying to have like some comment des matières? To have some materials in code to in digital and AA
Yeah.
because it's implemented everywhere, and we have a lot of partnership with the private sector, like the operator, MTN, Orange, la JICA Business France.
Yeah. So we talk about the collaborations. Can you tell us the programs that you have in your country to support the startups?
I've through the Ivoire Tech
Ivoire-Tech,
Hub,
yes.
yes.
Yeah.
We gave them access to funding and incubation, access to data and infrastructure from the government, and collaboration with all the university.
Yeah. How many do you have? Like, how many people are accessing to this program? Are contributing in that youth?
Mm, no, we have hundreds of person.
Hundreds.
Yes, because this is just the pilot phase. We are we are brainstorming to building a center like Novation City in Ivory Coast, which can take more people. But no, the infrastructure can just allow us to take 100.
Yeah, and this aligns as well with the AI strategy that we give to the African Union. It aligns with the the AI strategy of Kenya and what he said about Cote d'Ivoire and Tunisia. We have almost the same vision, and we're working on it collectively. And now we have the last part. Is I'm going to ask you each one, what is your vision for the future of AI in Africa?
I think for me, one is the vision is that to ensure that AI is not an ICT issue. Because right now everybody thinks it's an ICT issue. It's an whole of society issue. And this is where now I go towards differentiating talent gap and skilling gap. Because we have a skilling gap, not a talent gap. And the skilling gap includes leadership. So for me, that's for me what we need to do is how do we train leaders across the stack, not just ICT ministers, presidents, ministers of finance, because they're the ones who put money, parliaments, to do that. So for Kenya, for example, we've launched something called a Kenya AI Skilling Alliance. So we are skilling citizens, we are skilling the entire public sector. We've already trained about 10,000 government officials. We have an AI fluency for cabinet. That's for the ministers so that they understand that. So for me, that's my parting shot is talent gap is fine. The skilling gap is a problem because everyone needs to understand the benefits and the risks of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I guess we have a problem. You said skilling is the problem.
Yes.
But I really love your confidence when you talk about Africa.
Yes.
So my question is, I said that the World Bank projects that Africa's economy could reach $712 billion by 2050. Do you think it's correct or it's more?
It's correct. The issue is who will benefit from that, which is why I'm saying skilling becomes important because then that economy should not benefit somebody else. It should benefit Africans. And I still believe it will benefit Africans if we have the right foundations.
Thank you. Mr. Bilal, what is your vision for the future of African implementation of the artificial intelligence?
The African Union's Digital Transformation Strategy 2020-2030 and Smart Africa Alliance drive harmonized policies, data governance, and cross-border cooperation. Partnerships among governments, private sectors, and academia fosters innovation, capacity building, and ethical AI for sustainable inclusive growth. African countries have the potential to apply AI to achieve significant progress and enhance the well-being of people across the continent.
Thank you. So same question for you, Alexia. Yeah, what is your vision for the future of African AI future?
The Ivory Coast is part of the Smart Africa Alliance. So we are working with them with our AI strategy, and they work with all Africa with all the AI strategy to try to align it. Our strategy is really human-centered, human-centered, inclusive, and responsible.
Yeah, that's great. I like it. It's feminine even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I hope this was insightful for all of you. We're so glad in Tunisia we have these three countries. We have Kenya, we have Cote d'Ivoire, and we have Tunisia as well. And we talked even about the landscape, the other African continent, African countries. And we are positive today about the future. We are working hand to hand, artificial and human. We're working hand to hand. So, as we come to the end of this rich, thoughtful conversation, I want to thank our distinguished panelists for the clarity and the honesty. And I want to thank the audience as well for your engagement and for your contribution to this panel. And perhaps the most inspiring message of all Africa's progress is that we can guess that Africa's progress accelerates when we're all working together, when we all have the same vision, and when we are collaborating. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a very impactful panel. But right now, I call to the stage Mr. Karim Gir. He will speak about his vision and his strategy concerning Africa. With a round of applause, please welcome Karim Gir.
Cool. Thanks a lot, everyone. It's an honor to be here, actually. And I'm really pleased to see like the infrastructure developments in Sousse means a lot to me. Actually, I studied in Sousse, so this feels like coming home a bit. And really a pleasure to be here. So I have a presentation. So I don't know if it's this pointer that I should use. Let's see, this works. And today I'm gonna be sharing with you sort of like the vision and opportunity that I see, which I expressed also in my book Leapfrog, and sort of like really like getting you a sense of the moment, like why is this an important moment for Africa, and why we need to seize it. So if I go to the next slide, let's see. Okay, so really like, I don't know how it feels for most of you, but this is an extraordinary time. Like really like we are in the middle of multiple exponentials and things are happening at insane speed. Like, did you feel things are accelerating in general? Like show of hands, like who thinks things are accelerating? Okay, A few. Not everybody, though. Well, if you haven't seen it, you're going to feel the acceleration real soon. I can tell you that. But really, like coming back to basics about what we mean with exponentials, like almost like the incredible thing about exponentials is that people do not understand them and they keep underestimating them. So what it means is that if we are here today, if you're just using like recent progress to estimate what's going to happen next year, you're going to be wrong. Like to actually correctly estimate what is going to happen next year, you actually need to be a little bit foolish. Like when you try to predict exponentials, generally like you should be like almost like people don't believe what you're saying. You're probably right. And this is what's happening. And the incredible thing for Africa, and here at this GEICA major event, this is really important that we seize the opportunity for Africa. It's not one exponential, it's actually 3 exponentials, which we're going to be describing. So the first one, obviously, is AI, the biggest revolution of our time, perhaps the biggest revolution ever, ultimately, for human civilization. And the important, like the crazy thing is people keep underestimating what's going on. So this is a chart which I updated yesterday. And Wasim, I think you've seen this one before. Like what's interesting is last time I had this chart, which was just a few months, AI was scoring IQ tests higher than 99% of all humans. Today, it's 99.9%. And essentially, it's like a march of nines, yeah? And we're soon going to exceed human capabilities. And so these are standardized IQ tests. It's an average of multiple IQ tests. So you could always say, hey, but you know, it's just an IQ test. It doesn't really mean intelligence. And what is an IQ test? But still, it's quite remarkable, the constant progress that we are seeing on these things. So this is one example of what's going on. But, you know, people have a tendency to push the goalposts. Like you say, okay, IQ test, but they're like, oh, that's not real intelligence. So what is more like real intelligence? Think about the math Olympiads, for example. That's more like real intelligence. And incredibly, this year, we got not 1, not 2 AIs, but actually 3 AIs that got the gold medal at the International Math Olympiads. That's kind of incredible. And even more incredible is when you see how people were thinking about it in the very recent past. In 2021, people thought getting a gold medal at the IMO was more than 20 years in the future. Just 2 years ago, people were thinking this is at least 5 years away, you know, like 2028, 2030. And the reality is it just happened this summer. And so again, this is an example which is absolutely incredible. And by the way, I don't know if you looked at problems of the International Math Olympiad, it's actually pretty serious, you know? Really serious. Okay, so really like, now that I hope I convinced you that something historic is happening, something unprecedented really, the question is first, why and what does it mean? And so really like, I'm trying to find a good analogy for what's going on in AI. And I put this picture of a plane. It's a plane with 3 engines. And AI is basically driven by 3 engines: data, compute, and model innovation, like constant innovation. And it's the combination of the 3 that make the plane fly, take off, and accelerate. And so the most amazing thing is, if you come back a second, these 3 engines have been growing exponentially, but the new thing, if you want, the new thing is that now we have AI itself, which is accelerating those 3 engines. And this is the new thing. It's like, where is the discrepancy or the discontinuity? The discontinuity is in the fact that AI now is so good. I mean, the example of IQ test, the example of Math Olympiads, that shows you the potential, but this is actually deployed to improve the quality of the models. And what is actually synthetic data generation. Until very recently, like a year ago, people were saying, hey, data is going to be a limiting factor. We have a data wall. There are only like 30 trillion tokens in the world over the internet. And what do we do next? And the reality is we have actually bypassed this with synthetic data. And so synthetic data means it's actually AI manufacturing data to accelerate AI. And you can see it even in reasoning models. In this example here, you see that if you let a model think longer, what we call test time compute, it will actually get better results. And thinking longer really means actually AI is generating synthetic data relevant to the task and evaluating its own synthetic data, its own thinking, and improving it. So this is quite remarkable because even if the slope doesn't look like high, effectively this means that if you had even more compute, you'd get smarter models, and so on and so forth. So here, AI is accelerating data. AI is also accelerating hardware. The latest generation of Google TPUs, NVIDIA GPUs are co-designed with AI. And this is why NVIDIA suddenly now is cranking up GPUs much faster than before. Before it used to be a year and a half, 2 years to get the next generation GPU, like from Volta to Ampere, for example. But these days, it's even faster. And it's the same with Google as well. So AI is co-designing hardware chips. And so the second engine is becoming stronger. Compute is becoming stronger. And the third one, and perhaps the least understood, is the notion of model innovation. I mean, I'm an AI researcher. This is what I love. And actually, I've been shocked by the progress we've seen over the last 10, 15 years. Like when the whole deep learning revolution started in 2012, people had to manually label images, saying this is a cat, this is a dog, this is a truck, to be able to train a deep learning system to recognize those well and generalize to unseen images. But these days, actually, you just throw all the data you have at models and they will learn without labeling. Nobody can label the entire internet manually. We don't do that anymore. The system basically learns directly from data, which we call unsupervised or self-supervised learning. That's a revolution. And even crazier now, those innovations like invention of the transformer in